Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here today. Before we all get the good news about why we have all gathered here, I would like us to introduce ourselves so that you get to know the iTrust finance team. And to start us off, I would like to invite you, Chairman Karibu.
Thank you so much, Winnie. Should we get started? Sorry.
Yes, welcome, Chairman, to just give a brief introduction of yourself, and then we'll round off to the rest of the team. So welcome.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Winnie. Well, and good afternoon, dear investors. We at iTrust are very delighted to welcome you all for the first ever funds investor call. This is part of our corporate governance for the fund management team. My name is Aunali Rajabali. I'm the chairman of iTrust, as well as the chairman of the investment committee at iTrust. We have our entire fund management team to take you through our performance since inception, which was around December 2024. This will be followed by questions and answers session where our team will be able to answer all your questions or any queries you may have. So without further ado, let's get started, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Before the rest of the team introduces itself, I would like to invite one of our directors here today. Welcome, Prof, for just a brief introduction of yourself.
Thank you very much, Winnie. I think my name is Mohammed Warsame. I'm one of the directors at iTrust Finance, and I'm really glad that we have a very good attendance today. And I think this first ever investor call for iFunds is already looking like a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. And we're delighted. Well, we have our CEO with us here today. Welcome.
Thank you, Vinny. Dear investors, welcome. We are very delighted to have you, all of you, take your time out for attending this investor call. It's our first call, so please bear with us. We will take you through a very short and brief introduction of our company, about iTrust. I'm sure all of you know about us, but again, we will take you through the performance of the funds and how these funds work. Yeah, maybe we can continue with the introduction, and then I'll take over from here.
Yes, and we are delighted we have our talented team here with us today. So each one will do a quick introduction of their name and titles so that you get to know us. We hope you'll be able to visit our offices and get to see us in person. Anyone?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marianne Odambo, and I'm the fund administrator.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Azan, and I'm the fund investment analyst.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Frank Bonoma. I head the brokerage and advisory department.
Good afternoon. My name is Francis Samki, and I'm the fund accountant.
Hi, everyone. My name is Samia Karim, and I head the client relationship.
Good afternoon. My name is Aidan Biro, ICT officer.
And today, as your host, my name is Winfrida Makuru. I head the marketing, brand, and communications department. Karibuni-san.
So this is the agenda for the today's investor call. So I believe we have already heard from our chairman with the welcome note. Thank you so much, Mr. Oni. I will take you through a little bit about iTrust. So just a bit of a history about iTrust, how we started and where we are from. I will take you through the timeline as well, but a brief on what we do at iTrust. iTrust is a Tier 2 financial service provider. We are regulated by Bank of Tanzania and Capital Markets and Securities Authority. So we are a licensed dealer and broker. We are also a licensed fund manager. We are licensed to do transaction advisory service. We have some products which, again, Bank of Tanzania regulates us, is on the Islamic lending side, right? And we have the products like security-based lending. So along with capital markets activities, we also do banking activities in terms of lending only. So slide change, please. Some of our milestones since the inception of our company, if you see here in our slide, in 2013 is when the iTrust was formed. Initially, it was called as Iman Microfinance. Since 2013 to 2023, our major milestones have been the Sukuk issuances. iTrust and Iman was the pioneer of the Sukuks, an Islamic debt product, which we pioneered in Tanzania in 2021. Since 2013 to 2023, we have done 8 successful issuances, from which we have raised 47.8 billion. This has been a massive oversubscription also when this asset was launched during this period. Along that, in 2023, our company went through a rebranding phase from Iman Microfinance to iTrust Finance, what you see today. During the period of 2023 to 2024, we had done a couple of assignments in between the likes of Sukuks. We did an assignment for Afriprice Investment Limited, which was known as TCCIA. We had done a rights issue for them. Again, this was a successful assignment for us. We raised 10.59 billion in the rights issue. In the period of 2024 to 2025, you can see we have done multiple of things, multiple of products that we have launched. We have launched our regional desk. We did an assignment for DCB Commercial Bank, a rights issue again of 10.74 billion. We also were the co-lead transaction advisors and co-sponsoring brokers for the Samia Infrastructure Bond that was launched by CRDB, which was also massively oversubscribed to the tune of 323 billion. Alongside, towards the end of 2024, we also did an investor roadshow for Safaricom, which is a Kenyan-based company, for the first time in Tanzania. So iTrust was the host for them. And towards the very end, as all of you are here for, and that was the five funds that we had launched during the end of 2024. And in 2025, the beginning of the year, we also hosted the London Stock Exchange. We had assisted them to do a roadshow for all the large investors and high net worth individuals in Tanzania. Our iFunds IPO during our launch phase, we had launched 5 different funds: iCash, iGrowth, iIncome, iSave, and Iman Fund, which I know all of you guys are already aware of, and I really want to thank you all for making this a success for us. We had initially done an IPO of 37 billion is what we had offered in the market, and we were oversubscribed by 136% in the tune of 50.42 billion in December 3rd. Yeah. So again, this is a shout out to all our investors. Thank you so much for showing us the confidence at iTrust. And without you, this wouldn't have been a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Thank you very much, Faiz. We appreciate that. I think we have started out with a bang. Great numbers so far, but we have even greater numbers. So now I'd like to invite Frank to give us a little intro into the funds, into the market overview. Karibu, Frank.
Thank you, Winnie. So I will take you through a brief overview of the capital markets, and I will start by taking you through what's happening in the bond market last year and this year, both on the government side and on the corporate side. And then I'll move to the equities market, what has happened. So this year, and since the beginning of full year 2024 to 2025, we witnessed the Central Bank of Tanzania having a new calendar where there are new bonds that have been issued and some have been reopened since middle of March this year. So the government so far, since the full year 2024 to 2025, has already raised 4.12 trillion. And there are multiple bonds that have been issued, ranging from 2 years to 25 years. During this period, we've witnessed a little bit decrease in the coupons that were issued in the past year, from bonds that were paying coupons of around 15.95 to 15.75. to 20-year bonds that were paying coupons of 15.49, reduced to 15.25. And we've also witnessed during this period the central bank introducing a market-aligned system for the treasury bond coupon rates starting from January this year. And now the new approach has replaced the static fixed rate system where individuals and people who are bidding in the market were bidding based on the daily price. Right now, with the new system, it's now more based on flexibility in terms of the yield, and slightly different from what was offered in the past. And the main purpose as to why these changes have occurred, they are aimed at enhancing liquidity and improving price discovery in the market. And recently, the central bank has also widened the minimum amount and size for a person to bid in the weighted average from 50 million to 500 million, all in the hopes of trying to do price discovery and enhance liquidity in the market. That is what happened in the corporate in the government bond. In the corporate side, we witnessed an issuance of 2 corporate bonds. One is on CIDB Bank, where they issued some infrastructure bond. The aim was to raise 150 billion. They collected 323 billion, a success rate of 215%. We also witnessed during the month of March an issuance of the Zanzibar Sukuk, an Islamic bond. The target was to raise 300 billion. They raised 381 billion, a success rate of around 127%. So during this first quarter, we've witnessed issuance of these 2 big bonds into the market, still signifying a lot of liquidity into the market and a lot of appetite of individuals moving into the fixed income side. Next slide. On the equities market, again, the market has been very vibrant for the past 6 months, with multiple counters that have been active. CIDB started very well this year with a price of 670. It picked up into the month of March, especially after the dividends were announced. And year to date, it has grown and it has gained 17.9%. NMB has started at 5,350, and we've witnessed it being steady. There hasn't been much activities on a counter for like NMB. It's now at 6,000 levels. TPCC witnessed the maximum volatility, especially after the announcing of the dividends that was done a couple of weeks back. The counter started with a price of 3,600 at the beginning of the year, and it's now at 5,500 as of today. We've also witnessed an activeness in the counter for AfriPrice. It has been not an active stock since the beginning of the year, but recently, for the past 1 month, it has picked up very quickly, moving from 220 to 280, hitting 290 as of today. So those are the counters that have been active in the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange. And we've also witnessed multiple number of dividend declarations from companies. CIDB announced 65 shillings per share, which is a growth of around 30% compared to what they paid last year. NMB has recently announced 429, which is a growth of around 19% compared to what they paid last year. TCC again has done very fantastic. Last year they paid 390. This year they're planning to pay 600 shillings per share, which is a growth of around 54%. TCC has also declared a final dividend, which is a growth of around 15% from what was declared last year. So those counters and those dividend announcements have been a busy season in the equities market, making the market a little bit more active compared to the previous periods during the year. Next slide. In terms of the fixed income side, if we have a look at the interest rates movement, both on the short term and on the long term, yields started very high during the year. Right now, we are witnessing a trend in dropping in the yields. And the moment the yields are coming down, it has an impact on the prices. So we currently witness a jump in the prices. The same apply to the 20 and the 25-year government bonds, We have focused more on this because they are more active in the market. They are much more traded in the market, and their trend and their yield have also been very much volatile during this first quarter during the year. So overall, in terms of the interest rates movement during the year, year to date, it has been on a downward trend. It started up with an upward trend, but it has been dropping daily. We feel this is we are at the bottom of the curve and should be picking up soon in a couple of months. That's a brief from our side, a brief overview of the market, and the implication of what has happened in the market will be reflected in our funds performance. In all the counters that the funds have invested in terms of the equities, and in all the bonds that the funds have invested in terms of the long-term bonds and the short-term bonds. We will see the impact of this when we review our funds performance. Thank you so much. Over to you, Winnie.
Thank you very much, Frank. That was quite insightful. Now that we've gotten a better picture of how the market was, let's get in depth now with how the iFunds did. Welcome, Azan.
Thank you, Winnie. So I would like to start with iCash Fund. iCash Fund, as you know, had a successful issuance. Since the issuance, our assets under management, which is the AUM, as you can see at the top, has grown by a staggering 70.38% to 21.8 billion shillings. As well as the NAV. The NAV has remained stable at 104.5399, which represents a 4.54% growth since inception. I would like to highlight that these numbers are as at end of April. iCash Fund invests in a range of money market instruments. It invests in treasury bills, call deposits, and it also has some short-term treasury bonds as well as corporate bonds. The fund is ideal for investors who would like to invest for a short period of time and do not have a high risk appetite. In terms of the asset allocations, iCash invests around 62% in treasury bonds and 28.5% in corporate bonds. As you can see, we have 9.1% in terms of cash. Because this is a money market fund, we need to be able to hold liquidity so we can match any redemptions or subscriptions that are requested by the investors. As far as our fund performance is concerned, as I alluded up there, the fund has since inception returned about 4.54%. In terms of annualized numbers, we have returned. In terms of annualized numbers, we're looking at about 11.20. And I would like to note that this is based on past performance, so it does not guarantee the returns. It's just an indication based on our past performance. As you can see, we have outperformed our benchmark. The benchmark during that same period has returned about 4.43%. Which annualized would be about 10.92%. I would like to take you now to the next fund. This is our iGrowth Fund. iGrowth Fund happens to be one of our most popular funds. As you can see, the assets under management is 25.72 billion. That represents a 44.44% growth since inception, which was during the launch. As for the NAV, today, as of end of April, the net asset value is 109.4352, which represents 9.44% growth since inception. This is a wonderful performance, and this is due to what Frank had alluded earlier, with performance of CRDB and NMB having one of the best returns over this period. iGrowth is a balanced fund, so it invests a bit of its investments in equities and a certain portion in treasury bonds. As you can see, equities is at about 53.8%. Ideally, we would like to have it at around 50%, but because of the price appreciation of our equities, you can see that it has taken up a slightly higher portion. We will be rebalancing soon to have a decent, less than 50% allocation in equities. And as far as performance is concerned, you can see that our unannualized return since inception has been 9.44, as I mentioned earlier. And in terms of annualized figures, we're looking at about 27.19% over the period of a year. As far as the benchmark is concerned, we're outperforming it quite a bit. Sorry about that. Yeah, so our benchmark would have returned about 13.94. So as you can see, it's a staggering performance as compared to the benchmark. I shall take you now to the next fund, which is Iman Fund. Iman Fund has an asset under management of about 6.28 billion. This sits at around 16.63% growth since its inception numbers. Iman is a Sharia compliant fund, and it is similar to iGrowth in terms of its balanced nature. But the only difference between iGrowth and Iman is the Sharia compliant portfolio. In terms of the portfolio, we have a Sharia board that reviews the investments. And we would also like to allude that Zanzibar Sukuk is one of the biggest issuances ever in Tanzania. And we're proud to say that we have a certain portion allocated to Zanzibar Sukuk. In terms of performance, you can see that our since inception numbers unannualized are sitting at about 8.82%, and with an annualized number of about 26.45%, which is staggering in terms of its performance. This is with regards to the equities such as Striga Cement, which has performed, as Frank had alluded, to over 54% growth in a span of 1 year. I would now like to move on to the next fund. Our next fund is iSafe. iSafe happens to be one of our fastest growing funds. iSafe currently has about 8.6 billion, and that is a staggering 206% growth since inception. The net asset value is at 104.68 as at end of April. iSafe is a fixed income fund. It invests in long-term treasury bonds, and it is recommended for clients with low risk appetite and who would like to grow their wealth over a steady rate in the long run. As you can see, iSafe has 90.9% allotted to treasury bonds and a certain amount in cash at 9.1%. In terms of its investments, it's looking at about 20 to 25-year investments of treasury bonds. As you can see, there was a slight flattening at the beginning of the fund. That was because we had to wait for approvals for our fund, so that us as a fund, we could invest in terms of for iSafe. That's the slight little bit of flat line you can see. But after that, you can see the growth trajectory has been outperforming the benchmark. The year-to-date unannualized figures that are about 4.19%, which annualized is sitting at about 12.73%. During that same period, you can see the benchmark has returned 4.1%, and their annualized number is 12.51%. So it's only a matter of time that iSafe will catch up to its benchmark and outperform the benchmark as well. Our final fund is iIncome Fund. iIncome Fund is a fixed income fund as well. It's the same as iSafe. The difference will be explained shortly by somebody else. So I would like to take you in terms of performance. Our iIncome has an asset under management of about 8.6 billion, which is a growth of about 14.64% since inception. The net asset value is 105.1686, which is a growth of about 5.17% since inception. As I alluded earlier, iIncome is similar to iSafe in terms of its investment in treasury bonds. However, the difference is iIncome could also invest in medium-term bonds. which means the investments are spanning from 10 years to 25-year treasury bonds. As far as performance is concerned, our year-to-date unannualized performance is 4.21%, and our year-to-date annualized is sitting at about 12.81%. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sure you're all now interested if you haven't invested with the iFunds. So I invite you to ask questions in the chat and we'll get to them at the end during the Q&A session. So please feel free to ask either in the chat or at the Q&A, and we'll be responding to them in actual time. But please feel free to do that. And now I'd like to invite Marianne to get in detail about the income fund payout.
So I'll take you through the income fund payout, monthly payout. We're planning to start doing the payouts beginning of August 2025. This is to mean that investors who joined from the beginning of July till the end will be eligible to receive monthly payouts. So as Azan has explained the characteristics of our income and the asset that it holds, it's basically holding long-term government and short-term bonds to, of course, cater for the monthly payouts. So eligible criteria is to have a minimum threshold of 10 million TZS. So we have examples that we have given. For example, person A, you have invested 20 million at the end of June. So you are the fund that you have entered in for the entire month of July, it means that you'll be eligible to receive payout in August. Then the second person, you entered and then you began with 20 million. In the mid of July, you redeemed 2 million. So at the end of the month, you'll be eligible to receive only gains that you had, which is 18 million. Then the third example, person C, you had 20 million at the inception, then you invested an additional of 2 million. So what you'll be eligible to receive is only the 20 million that was kept at the beginning till the end of the month. This is basically to mean that monthly payouts we only receive if you have a minimum threshold of 10 million from the inception till the end. So at the moment we've sent the relevant documents to our regulator in regards to the payout. Once that's out, we'll be able to communicate to the high-income investors, and then we have a separate EGM with them, and then we'll give more details in regards to the payout. Right. So we just wanted to highlight, based on the performance that Azan has explained, this is the performance of up to date. So the 14 days till now. So this is the performance of iCash. It went to 104.9915. So since inception return, that is 4.99%. Our income is now up as 105.6749. This is up by 5.67%. iGrowth is up by 113.5967. This is since inception return is 13.6%. Iman is at 122.5068. Since inception return is 22.51%. iSave is at 105.1662. Since inception return is 5.17%. These figures as of yesterday, so 14th of May. It shows how exceptionally our funds performed, specifically the balanced ones. Now we're looking at iGrowth and iSave. The numbers have really gone up, and this is because of the declaration of dividends, and it has performed. You can really see how the numbers have gone up, and we believe that the investors who are able to invest in both iGrowth and Iman can be able to receive the returns and the valuation going up. So again, this is not a depiction of what's going to happen in the future. This is just our past performance up to now, but it doesn't necessarily depict that this is going to remain the same throughout the year. So I'll explain why you should be able to invest in iFunds. It's very liquid in the sense that there's easy exit and entry. There's no entrance fees. And then when you want to exit, it just takes 3 working days. So it's very flexible. Regardless of the fund that you have invested in, it only takes 3 days to be able to exit. Diversification of portfolio, meaning because you're investing in a fund does not only hold one asset. It's basically a basket of assets. So you're able to diversify your risk and you're able to invest in different arrays of securities. Also, all our funds have different objectives. So they have different asset allocation. So you being able to spread your risk across our funds is a really good way of, balancing your portfolio. Then customer safety net, of course, because we are regulated by Capital Market Securities Authority, and we also have our trustee and custodian. So we're in this fund management business because mainly of our investors. We're here because of you, and your number one priority. So the good thing about being a fund manager is that all the assets and cash are handled under custody, which is NBC Bank. Meaning, if our clients are coming into the fund, the deposit they make, it goes to custody. If we're sending investment instructions, it goes to custody. So this clearly customer safety net, because it's the bank, NBC Bank, which handles all assets and all cash for our clients. Then we have investment management, of course. Investments are professionally managed here at iTrust. We have a really good team that we work. We're always rebalancing our portfolio, trying to see what's available in the market to improve the yields of our clients. So we believe that we're really up to date and keeping up with the market data. Then switching from one fund to another. This is also a channel that we gave to our clients to be able to rebalance your portfolio. If you feel like, say, you initially invested in iCash and you'd want to spread some of it to maybe Iman and iGrowth, we allow you to switch between funds. Then the minimum amount required. So all funds now, iCash, iGrowth, Iman, and iSave has a minimum investment of 100,000, with the exception of our income fund, which is 10 million, to be able to, because we want to do the payouts so that you receive enough amount on a monthly basis, which should be significant if you want to maybe cater for a bill, you pay for rent, school fees, whichever bill that you'd have, it will be able to set you off with the 10 million. And then fund reporting, we always upload our prices from all working days on our website and social media platforms. So you can always be able to check how your fund is performing, the investments that you have made. And then we also send statements to our clients on a monthly basis. You can also view your valuation on the portal. So now I'll just take you through how to be able to, when you're viewing your statement and understanding it. So this is a sample of a client who has invested in iGrowth and iSave. So as you can see, the net investment is basically the principal amount you came with. Transaction NAV is the price that you came at. So this particular client invested 1.1 million and 85 at 100 shillings, and then they were allocated units. So units will basically be the principal amount, which is the net investment, divided by the transaction NAV, you get the units. Fund NAV is basically the current NAV where you're valuing at. So this client in iGrowth invested at 100 shillings. Now we're up by 113.9667. So the valuation is up to 14.8 million. So you can see total gain stroke loss. How we'll do it is basically the valuation less the net investment. Then lien amount is in case the client has pledged any amount against their units. And then the net valuation is basically the valuation less lien amount. Same applies to iSave. The client invested 1 million at 100 shillings. They allocated 10,000 units. So right now it's up by 105. The valuation is up by 1,051,000. So the gain you can see there is 51,642. And the same applies to net valuation since the client has not linked. So the statement is pretty understandable, it's straight to the point. You can be able to see any transaction that you make, you'll see another entry. So say this client now joins and is able to invest in iCash. Now we will be able to see iCash at the price they invested at, how many units were allocated, what's the current NAV, the valuation, and the gain and loss.
All right, thank you very much, Marianne. And now I would like to invite Samia for her to do a tutorial of how the portal works. Welcome, Samia.
Hi everyone. My name is Samia and I'll be talking to our website. iTrust will share the team, which will bridge. Let me do that.
Apologies for that. Technical issues. A Zoom call isn't a Zoom call without any technical difficulties. Just bear with us, please. In the meantime, please keep the questions coming, and we'll keep responding to them in real time or save them for the Q&A when we see that they'll be for the benefit of everyone else. But we appreciate you taking your time to keep on listening in. We hope that this is not just providing insight into the markets, but insight into how the iFunds are also doing.
Sure.
Winnie, maybe I can jump in here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, I think the portal basically is our web-based platform for investors. So you can be able to see your statement, you can be able to see your holdings, your valuations. So the best way to get on it is get on the website. You can sign up, as you can see here on the screen. You can download all the documentation. And once you have logged in, and I think Samia is ready now, we'll take you through.
Welcome, Samia.
Thank you, Willie, and thank you, Professor. So like Professor was saying, if you're an existing client of iTrust and you want to view your daily portfolio and how it's growing, you can come to our website here, itrust.co.tz. You come, you click on login. When you click on login, it will take you to our page, which looks like that. And you will, if you're coming in here for the first time, you will put the email that is registered with iTrust and you click on forgot password. This will send you a temporary password in your email, which will allow you to change. So I've already done that part. I'll go ahead and log in now. And for your safety, they have a two-step authenticator. So I'll go ahead and put that in, that has come in my WhatsApp. So even if you're out of country, you're able to access your portal. So this is how the main page will look like. It has your total, your net worth. This is all the funds that you have invested in, your equities and your shares and your bonds right here. Further below, it gives you a breakdown of each and every fund that you have invested in and your bonds and equities. If you scroll down a little bit, it'll show you the market rate as of today for each fund. And if you want to purchase more units, you come to funds over here, you click on purchase, you will select the kind of fund that you want to invest in. You'll put in the amount, we'll try with 100,000. Okay, that's the 10 million. You will submit. You will get the options of paying either via USSD push. Right now, we are directly connected with Yas, Azam M-Pesa, and Airtel. So you will either select that, or you could do a TIS transfer from your bank to the details specified down here. Once you've done the transfer, you can come and submit the proof of payment right here. In case you want to withdraw units, you want to redeem some units, you come click on withdrawal. You select the unit, the fund that you want to withdraw the units from. You'll just load in a minute. For example, I want to redeem my units from iCash. I'll click over there. I'll enter the amount of 100,000 or 100,000. Once I submit it, it comes directly to our team. In 3 working days, you get your money back into your bank account. As simple as that. So to view your portfolio, to redeem, to purchase, to check your reports, to check your contract notes, to check your fund valuation, everything is right here on our portal. You just have to go on our website and click on login. That's it. Thank you, Winnie. In case you are not our client as yet, you can also come to our website, click on application forms. Scroll down and select the account that you'd like to open, individual, joint, minor, corporate. Put in your key details such as contact details, bank details. Upload 3 key documents. It's just ID, picture, copy of TIN, signature, submit, and you'll get an email from our team of what to do next. Karibuni sana na asanteni sana for listening. Winnie, back to you.
Thank you very much, Samia. We appreciate that. And we have got a number of questions, but before we get into the questions, we appreciate everyone for your trust that you have placed again in iTrust. And this is for everyone who's congratulating us, our current investors and everyone who has invested in iTrust. We appreciate it, and we appreciate the congratulations that we're receiving. I would now just like to get into some of the questions, and we have tried to answer as many as possible online, but here are some of the few. Someone is asking, what are corporate bonds?
Okay, so corporate bonds are like treasury bonds, except they're issued by corporate issuers such as CRDB, NMB, NBC. So they're basically debts that is raised by the company rather than the government.
Thank you, Azan. Someone is interested in meeting with the team with regards to investor calls and how, with regards to investors and how to invest. We'll share a page. We are located in Masaki, and we'll share our contact information. Please reach out to us via social media or via our website, and you'll be able to learn more. Please feel free to come and meet the team at our offices as well. And then we have another question. Is there a fund that has either or both monthly reinvestment or monthly payout?
Okay, so right now we don't have a fund that does both. That's why we have 2 separate funds. We have iIncome Fund and iSave Fund. So iIncome Fund and iSave Fund are very similar, but they differ in terms of the payout and the reinvestment. So iIncome Fund does payout on a monthly basis, but iSave Fund reinvests all the income that it has gotten. So if you prefer monthly payout, we suggest you come to iIncome Fund. But if you prefer reinvestment of your gains, we suggest you can go to iSave Fund.
Thank you. And someone is also asking if a person doesn't want to withdraw monthly payouts, but can they, I'm guessing this is what they mean, can they reinvest that back into the iFunds?
Yes, so basically someone who doesn't want to receive monthly payout, we basically advise them to invest specifically in iSave Fund, because anyone who's invested in iIncome is to receive monthly payout come August 2025.
Thank you, Marianne. In income fund, how often do the long-term bonds, how often are the long-term bonds traded, or is it that you hold it for long-term?
Yeah, we're basically holding the bonds till maturity. So as we've said, for iIncome, we're also incorporating short-term securities, which we could they could be marked to market in the sense that to cater for liquidity purposes when we're starting to do the monthly payouts.
Thank you for that. Someone was asking how they can access the portal. I think Samia gave a tutorial on that, but if you have any issues, please feel free to contact us and we will provide an insight into that. Are there any other questions? There we go. It's just taking a while to load, but bear with us.
I think, Winnie, there were 2 questions I'll just jump in to say something quickly about. There was a question from about borrowing against securities. I think this came from one of the questions on the chat. I think that we do have a product called iLoans. This is product specifically catered for investors who hold securities in the capital market. So you can borrow at iTrust, as we mentioned, we do lending also. So you can borrow at iTrust, and that is something that we have a product for called iLoans. So please feel free to contact us on that. On the question around what events are going to impact returns over the next 12 months that we see, there are many things that can affect returns, but we think obviously this is an election year. As you've seen, there's been some volatilities on interest rates, but at least they're coming down. That means asset prices are going up. So there is, of course, obviously some news elements that can affect returns the rest of the year. But so far, the economy is doing very well. We're quite impressed with the way the economy has performed in terms of inflation. The GDP growth is quite strong. I think we are just waiting for the budget. So those are the kind of events that could have an impact on investment returns over the next few months. I think one question in the chat was talking about the issue of purification. I think in terms of Iman Fund, it has its own policy, and it has a Sharia board that takes care of those elements. So the element of what to invest in, what is allowable, what kind of returns are there, if they have any element of returns that need to be purified, those are dealt with by the Sharia board independently and executed by us. So the main thing is that the qualifying shares are all equities are all Sharia compliant. In this particular case, Twiga Cement, and the sukuks are there. So the majority of the investment is on the sukuk side, but where we get dividends and other returns, and then we look at the parameters of that stock depending on the conditions set by the Sharia board. And if it happens that some purification is required, the Sharia board mandates that, and the management of the fund executes that. So those details of how the asset allocation, the selection is done, and purification, they are all in the prospectus. So the Iman prospectus is available on the website, and also the portal is available on the website. For the investor who asked, where can I find the portal? Please go to the iTrust website. At the end, I'm sure Winnie will share all the contact information, including the website. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. For those of you who are asking where they can get this information or the slides, everything will be available on our website by tomorrow. So don't worry about that. And again, if you have any questions, we'll share a page for our contact information. So please feel free to reach out to us. Someone is asking, what are the fees to invest through iTrust?
So each fund has a management fee of 1.6% that is charged annually. And all the returns that you saw that were on the presentation, they're net off the 1.6%. So the returns you are seeing there is after management fee have been charged.
Thank you for that. And also we accept questions. If you'd like to ask a question in Kiswahili, please feel free to do that. We have a question that says, naomba kujua kama nipo sawa, nikisema benchmark ndio malengo ya mfuko na fund ndio return halisi ya soko kwa sasa.
Okay, so benchmark, let's say in Kiswahili it means kigezo. Ni kitu ambacho tunapima kujua kama mfuko unafanya vizuri. So kwa mfano kwenye mfuko wa iSave, benchmark ni bond ya 10 year. Kwa hiyo tunaangalia kwa performance ya bond ya miaka 10 na performance ya mfuko wa iSave. Kama mfuko wa iSave unafanya vizuri kuliko bond hiyo, that means bond inafanya vizuri. So ni kama kigezo cha kupima performance ya mfuko, no benchmark.
Okay, thank you for that. I believe we haven't addressed this one. Any chance you can reduce the amount of automated, apologies for that. Hello, in iGrowth, the equities portion, what listed companies do you invest in?
So in terms of our equities, we're holding some of the highest quality, the blue chip stocks, like CRDB, NMB, and Twiga, as we alluded in Iman as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other? If we haven't addressed your question, please feel free to type it again.
I think someone asked any plans for having an app. Yes, I think what we haven't highlighted in this presentation was that definitely we are going down the digital transformation route at this point. So absolutely, we are going to have an app. From the app, you'll be able to do all the functionalities and all the services that we provide at iTrust. So be it the stock purchasing, fund purchasing, all of it is coming soon. Hopefully very soon. So please watch out on our website, on our social media. You guys are going to get alerts, and you can get alerts for the event as well. We're going to do a launch event for our application and digital transformation. Thank you.
Thank you. We also have another question. Which of your products are Sharia compliant? I don't think we addressed that.
So in terms of Sharia compliance, in the presentation, we alluded that Iman Fund is the one that is Sharia compliant. It adheres to all Sharia principles. And we have a Sharia board that oversights all investments that are made in the fund. Yes.
Thank you. Another question, do you have any future plan to establish a halal ETF or mutual fund that will be providing periodic dividends to investors, unlike that of Iman?
I will direct that to Professor.
Thank you. I think that's actually a good advice. I think, as you know, last year we launched 5 funds. These are growing now. We have plans to issue a few more funds. And I think a Sharia compliant payout fund, similar to the structure we have on the conventional side where there is iIncome and iSave, to have Iman and maybe another version of a Sharia compliant fund that has payout, I think that's something we'll put on the cards. So please watch the space, and hopefully iTrust team will start working on it. Maybe by next year, you may see that kind of a product in the market.
Thank you, Prof. Any developments for Tanzanians to purchase the cross-listed stocks here in Tanzania?
Absolutely. This is something that we are working on at this point. Obviously, something is coming up again. I would like to say that just please watch our space, right? If you are an iTrust client, you're going to get a lot of information about what all we are doing here. And definitely cross-listing is going to be one of the other things that we are working on at this point. And please watch this space. You guys are going to get a lot more information and new products that are upcoming with iTrust.
Can I take a question from Gat Patel here? How are you, sir? I see your question on the iIncome and the percentage-wise. So roughly speaking, iIncome on a monthly basis is making slightly over 1% return. It's because it's a bond fund, so it has over 1% return. And we generally, according to the prospectus and the trust deed, we are going to be paying out anything from 80% to 90% of that amount over to the investors every single month. So roughly speaking, if you look at that, you pretty much can expect something like 0.9% per month kind of payout. Now, the reason why we have a range rather than one number is simply put that markets can be fluctuating, and investment returns are active in the market, and they have volatility. So in order to balance that out, we do have a range, but roughly that gives you an idea about the kind of payout iIncome will have every month. So I hope that answered your question, and if you didn't cover everything, please feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Prof. We have another question. Any plans for a dollar fund?
Again, if you're an iTrust client, please onboard yourself. You will get all this. These are upcoming products of ours. You guys are ahead of us as well. So if you're an iTrust client, watch this space. You're definitely going to get a surprise with the new products upcoming. Thank you.
Thank you. Do investors pay tax during withdrawal of funds? Income tax?
So your returns are all net taxes. There's no withholding tax on any fund gains.
Thank you. What are the guarantees of the funds in terms of bankruptcy of organization and compensation scheme in place?
So as we earlier mentioned that, our funds We are basically the fund managers, but the cash and the assets are being held at custody, which is NBC Bank. So if you look at other markets that have had funds for so many years, maybe sometimes you'd hear cases where the fund, became the fund manager was, maybe got bankrupt, or the fund manager was not able to cater for its liabilities and all that. So we'll be able to see that nothing happened to the unit holders. Why? Because the assets and the cash are managed and held at custody level. And also we have our CMSA in place, meaning that the investments we make has to go as per our documentation, which is the prospectus that is online and readily available. You can look at it. And we also have our PwC, who are our auditors. They always do checks on us and they'll do audits to see if there's any implication and how we're investing. Is it in line to how we have actually mentioned it in our documents? So there's normal checks that we do. We usually do asset allocation. We always do reallocation of the portfolio to make sure that everything is in place. So there's no need to worry about any bankruptcy, and we have custody in place.
Just to add to what Marianne is saying, sorry, Professor. Also that we are also a regulated entity. So mind you, our compliances are quite hefty. Capital Markets and Security Authority are quite an active regulator. So they audit us. They have all the controls in place alongside with our auditors, our custodians. All of that in a bubble is kind of protecting all the investors. Professor, please.
Yeah, I think all investors have to appreciate the structure of the regulatory structure of funds in Tanzania. Any regulated fund in Tanzania has two key players. One is the trustee custodian, which has to be a tier 1 bank licensed by the Bank of Tanzania. In our particular case, that happens to be NBC Bank, one of the third largest bank in the country, and the fund manager. So the fund manager's job is basically to make decisions on what to buy, what to sell, and how to allocate the assets, how to rebalance the portfolio. So the investment process is done by the fund manager. But the fund manager doesn't access because all funds belong to the unit holders, and that sits in with the trustee. The trustee of any fund is the bank, basically the particular bank that is the trustee. So the trustee holds all the assets. And when the trustee holds the asset, what does that mean? It means those assets are what we call bankruptcy remote, meaning that they're outside any bankruptcy. They're not tied to the institution, they're tied to the unit holders. The trustee holds them as a trustee for the unit holders. So in case of any issue, the trustee knows every day we reconcile, the fund administration team reconciles the fund's assets, the fund accounting team reconciles the cash balances, all bank accounts, all assets are held in custody by the trustee custodian. So that means that all the resources that you have invested in the fund sit with the trustee custodian. What we do as a fund manager is to decide, should we buy this bond, that bond, how much of it should we buy? Should we buy today at this price or tomorrow at a different price? Those are the decisions for investment management. So I think that should give everybody the assurance to understand how funds operate. So if you're going to be investing in our market, in anywhere in the world, you want to invest in a mutual fund, they will have the same kind of a structure. And that should give assurance to our investors. I think there were two questions. I think I just wanted to, I think from Gat Patel, funds are they tax exempt? And Mutazin Jaksi on the issue of withholding tax and whether it applies to corporates. Now, let me put it this way. Capital markets in Tanzania have some incentives. For example, there are no capital gains on shares being traded. So if share prices go up, there are no capital gains. The interest is a withholding tax, but the withholding tax on interest, for example, short-term interest. Long-term government bonds have no withholding tax and no corporate tax. So there are a lot of advantages in the instruments themselves. And then when it comes to the funds, investors in unit trusts in Tanzania are exempted from corporate tax. This applies to any investor. So when you redeem, there are no taxes. This is in Schedule 2 of the Income Tax Act. So corporations, insurance companies, and anybody else can invest in a unit trust or fund, and those are exempted in the Income Tax Act itself. So that's in the Schedule 2 exemptions. So it applies, as I said, to corporations also. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. We still have a number of questions, and I would like to leave you guys wanting more. As we're also running out of time, would like us to conclude here. However, please visit our website, itrust.co.tz, to learn more and follow us on all social media platforms. Please watch out, follow us on social media, check your emails. We'll be reaching out for the next investor call. We'll be reaching out for more information. And please, again, as I mentioned, feel free to reach out to us to learn more about the iFunds and to learn about all the amazing things that iTrust Finance does. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Okay.